The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe. This is the United Podcast Network.
Welcome to the raw and uncensored Ambitchious podcast. I'm your host, the original HBIC, Katie Boyd. During our time here together, I will be instilling all of the strength, power, and determination you will need to use the very stones thrown at you to build your ultimate empire. We will redefine the word bitch from the derogatory to the acronym being in total control of herself. So let's adjust our crowns and prepare to live life ambitiously. Oh, yeah, here I am, the original HBIC, Katie motherfucking Boyd. And over here is the coughing queen.
Oh, the coughing queen.
Matt Babine has a little tickle in his throat.
I've had a little tickle in my throat. I've had allergies.
I'm ready to end his life.
And so if you hear me coughing, and I'll probably get the shit beat out of me from my wife.
Absolutely. Hold it in as long as you can until you drop your O-ring out of your anus.
If this is a quiet podcast on the Matt Babine half, that means I'm just not going to say a word because I may cough.
Oh my God. Speaking of pain, today's Ambitchious installment of this damn podcast is all about using your pain to power your purpose.
Oh God, my purpose,
I'm popping
baby.
my peas, right? Mr. Ed Sullivan's like, stop doing that.
Yeah, I wasn't consulted on the title of this show.
He would have been like, can we call it something else? Because you tend to pop your peas.
Popping peas.
Oh my God. So before we get into the nitty gritty of this installment of the Ambitchious podcast, I want to talk about a couple of different things just to get you all in line with everything going on KBMFC. But we're going to first talk about our official podcast sponsor. It is Prana Hair, Skin, and Lash in Milford, New Hampshire. Ayana and her staff are amazing. And this week she is offering $100 off of your microblading session. My eyebrows are microbladed. It has changed my life. Ayana is amazing. So if you go to www.pranahairskinandlash.com, reach out to Ayana, tell her Katie over at the Ambitchious podcast sent you, you will receive your $100 gift certificate towards your microblading session. And secondly, I ask you to please take part in the Ambitchious movement by sharing this podcast on all of your social media and hashtag Ambitchious. Tag me on your IG stories. And don't forget to also go over to iTunes and give a 5-star and written review. We will be forever grateful. And you can also follow me on Instagram at Katie Boyd Ambitchious. And now, my favorite part, because it just shows us how many people love us, right?
Love it.
It is the iTunes review of the week, and it is from Gabby Gumas. And she says, Katie has mastered the craft of this simple yet complicated thing we call life. And she certainly isn't afraid to grab it by the balls or the labia, I'm just saying, and take ownership of herself. She's motivating, empowering, and a true leader. Katie's words of wisdom truly have the power to heal your mind, heart, and soul. These podcasts uncover a deep and meaningful perspective on how to handle what life throws at you. Katie is a true icon and a spiritual gangsta.
I love it. That was awesome.
Gabby, thank you. Email me at themisfitclub@gmail.com to redeem your $100 gift certificate to use towards anything KBMFC related. And I don't know if you noticed, Matt, but she did not say a damn word about you.
I didn't notice that. I was just too busy.
It's all about me.
Thinking about
Coughing your balls off?
No, because I won't cough, because this is the reason why. I'm thinking about not coughing, but it's still cough. So what you resist persists, right?
Okay.
So I'm like, don't cough. Then I'm like, I'm just going to cough. So people out there in Ambitchious land, if you got an allergy and you need to cough, or you
I'm
have a
allergic
cold,
to you.
or you have a cold, let your coughs out there. And this is what it will sound like. If you hear that, that's with me just trying to survive.
Someone's going to go to heaven today, and it's not going to be me, and I'm just letting you know. Last but certainly not least, shenanigans today. I want to remind you of a few things coming down the road. We have our next installment of the Ambitchious Business Mastermind. Obviously, as you all know, I've been working diligently, and The Ambitchious, the book, will be launching soon, and we'll be doing a book tour and an Ambitchious masterclass all over the country. We have some incredible retreats coming down the pike, so head on over to kbmfc.com and not only sign up for our free newsletter that comes out every Sunday, but also check out the events page with everything that's coming down the pretty pink pipeline at Katie Boyd's Misfit Club.
Lots of good stuff.
Are you ready, Freddie?
I am so ready.
So today we're going to talk all about using your pain to power your purpose. You know nothing of this because you're never in pain.
I may be in pain after today. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. And, like for so many years, I could not understand pain. Like, I don't know why I experienced pain. I didn't understand what it was for. And for me personally, I just cannot I can now, but I could not wrap my head around like why bad things happen to me because I'm a good person and bad things don't happen to people who are good people, right? Have you ever thought this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Long time ago?
Long time ago.
You know better now?
No, I just know shit happens sometimes and you just got to carry on.
And not until about the last 10 years did I realize that so much of my pain has been turned into using it to power my purpose in life, and that I would not be the person in front of you sitting here saying these words to you if I did not have the pain that I went through all these years. And the pain actually helped me level up. Do you agree with this?
Absolutely.
So today, Matt and I, mostly me, but Matt will probably chirp in every so often and talk about how...
Well, I'm going to chirp in more than you think.
Yeah, chirp. I'll give you a chirp. We're going to talk about how to use your pain and all the things that you've gone through in your life to power your purpose. Because really taking pain and using it to fuel you is really the epitome of being ambitious.
Absolutely.
Don't you think?
Oh my God, yeah.
So number one, we're going to use the pain to align yourself with divine power. So hear me out on this. I think pain can be a source of all that there is and all that there ever will be. I'm getting real deep today. If we never knew suffering and pain, how would we even know that we were even alive? When you are going through a painful moment, just be still and know that there is a higher power at work aligning you with your divine purpose on this earth. So, we talk about this all the time. All the things that we ever went through in life, you're like, if I didn't go through that painful experience, I wouldn't have met that person. And if I didn't go through that with that person, then it wouldn't have led me here. And I would not be truly the person that's sitting here doing this Ambitchious podcast and doing all the things that I do on a daily basis to help wake people up and teach people to really, truly live life ambitiously, right?
Absolutely. Because when you go through pain, you start all of a sudden developing compassion.
Yes.
If you're learning, right? Because everyone out there is going through something. No matter how it looks on the surface, people are going through things on a moment-to-moment basis. And just to be able to recognize that, all of a sudden you start really thinking about people, I believe, a lot differently.
So pain is actually a divinely guided thing.
Yes. And I'd like to be less guided sometimes, but it happens, right? I mean, it definitely does.
But if we never had pain, how would we know what pain, how would we know what was good and what was bad?
Well, it's funny because remember the story about the dog on the porch
that
was lying on the porch,
this.
and there's a nail on the porch, and the dog is like kind of lying on the nail. And there's a stranger walking by and going, "Why is your dog whining?" to the gentleman rocking back and forth on the porch with the dog on this nail. And he goes, "Oh, he's just whining. That's what he does. He's kind of on a nail." And he goes, "Well, why don't you move him? Or why doesn't he move?" Well, it's not painful enough. It's just enough pain that I can kind of put up with it. I can wince a little bit, but it's not enough pain for him to get up and move and get out of the way and take action. And how many times does that happen in our lives where, meaning me, you, and everybody, where it's painful situation, but I know it. I know this pain. The unknown pain may be more, right?
Yeah.
So, and I catch myself
the fear of the unknown.
And to be able to be conscious of that pain is a motivator. Pain is something that's like, hey, this doesn't feel good. I need to make a change.
Right.
And if you don't, then you're just going to have to live with it.
Every time I feel pain, it's always because I'm doing things that aren't aligning with who I truly am as a person. And I'm pretty good about saying, okay, this is abrasive to me. I have to shift this or I have to change this.
Yes.
Where a lot of people, like you said, they feel the nail on the porch, but it's not enough to get them off the nail.
Yeah. Until you start doing your spiritual journey, and then the nail becomes a pitchfork.
Yes.
And then you move.
Well, it's almost like the
quickly.
It's the karmic slap, right? So I always tell people, if you're feeling pain or you're feeling abrasion, it's going to keep coming at you over and over. And every time it comes at you, it's going to get a little bit worse and a little bit worse and a little bit worse. And then one day the universe is going to send you one big, I call it the karmic slap, or like a 2x4 to the head.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. And it will happen because it's actually telling you you're not living where you're supposed to be aligned. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Absolutely. Yeah. So remember, if it wasn't for pain, you would probably not be aligning with your true purpose at all. So, I welcome pain sometimes, because pain is the thing that's going, hello, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, right?
And learning from the pain is key, right? So don't keep on going back from the pain. Learn from the pain. Hey, I did this. I didn't go into this with the right intention, or I went into it and I knew in my gut this wasn't the right deal or this wasn't the right thing, but I went at it anyways, and then you caused your own pain, right? So sometimes you cause your own pain by not thinking and using, caution and knowledge and, past history, saying, hey, you got to learn from the adversity.
And if you don't learn, what happens is the pain just keeps coming up with different masks of different people, different masks of different experiences, until you learn the lesson.
Absolutely.
Right?
And then there'll be a new lesson.
Oh, God.
And then a new one.
Never-ending story.
Oh, God, don't stop that. I went to bed one night, she was singing this song, A Never-Ending Story, and I was like, all night long, I'm like flipping over a never-ending story. I'm like, it was stuck in my head all freaking
It's my favorite song ever.
Yeah, well, it's okay. Tell me about it in the morning.
That's your pain.
I can get rid of it. Stop trying
Never-ending story song is Matt's pain. Number 2, your story of overcoming pain will actually help inspire others, right? Yeah. And I always say when we share our stories, we give other people permission to share theirs, in turn helping liberate others from the pain of harsh emotions that they bury deep down inside. It, reminds me of that Marianne Williamson quote, like, who am I to be brave, talented, fabulous? Who are you not to be, right? You're playing small doesn't serve the world. And when you do your thing, you actually give other people permission to live in their truth.
And if you tell people the pain that you've experienced, right? So many people are trying to show their highlight reel either on Facebook in life, and they're showing, this highlight reel of what's really not going on in their life. And if you can explain to people that, hey, I've had really tough times, I've had bad times, I've gone through a lot of pain, and I think guys have a harder time with this. Talking about emotions and not being enough.
I think they're getting better, though.
I think so, too. But, it took me a long time. And I just started really talking. To you, I would talk about it. But I'm talking about to my students or people I work with or colleagues. And it gives permission for people to say, geez, wow, Matt's this guy, and he's, a karate guy and a business guy, and he's really just like putting himself out there and kind of saying what really hurt him or what bothered him or went through a loss or whatever. And it gives other people permission to be like, geez, everyone's going through this. He's going through this. And I see when somebody that I look up to shares like a really difficult story, I'm like, oh my God, I would have never known this about this person. And I'm so glad that they shared it, because that's what we're all just here trying to help each other walk home. Yeah. Right? Like absolutely. You said the other day, it's like we should be all helping each other get to the next point. Right,
whatever that means.
Yeah, whatever that means.
I agree. And it's funny because I was, talking about how I've been writing my book, and it's brought up a lot of anxiety. And I was posting on social media, and I was like, I'm so fucking sick of posting these pictures of me looking like perfect and all this shit. I'm like, I'm going to talk about my anxiety, because I don't really ever do that. And I did, and so many people reached out to me, and they were like, we never knew you had anxiety. We never knew you dealt with this. Like, thank you for sharing. And then all of a sudden, I saw a lot of people who are like close to me on social media and in my everyday life as well. They started sharing their struggles with anxiety or different things that they struggle with. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, this is how it works. Yeah. Because I think people look at us and they think, oh, Matt and Katie, they have this like perfect relationship and everything they have figured out. And it's like, I'm like
we're still in the journey.
I'm one Fruit Loop away from the funny farm sometimes.
I wouldn't say that, but you
sometimes.
Yeah.
So it depends. I mean, I get pressured and like, I get pushed. Yeah. And I think that people look at, again, like you said, the Facebook, the highlight reel. It's like, we're over here and, we're traveling in California. Now we're in Paris. Now we're over here. Now I'm doing this. And it's just like, that's just like little blips of what actual real life is like.
We were lucky to be able to do it, but all of the struggles of be able to put together that trip.
Yes.
Or be able to put together that presentation or whatever. Nobody sees the background
Yeah.
of the hard work or the
Nope.
the pain and the torture of getting these things up and running.
Right.
Right. So that's a lot.
When I did Kripalu last year, someone said to me, like, how did you get all these people in a room? I'm like, I fucking sold my ass off for the last 9 fucking months saying, pajama jammy jam, pajama jammy jam.
Jammy jam. Oh my God.
I was like a broken record, but I was like, this is my goal. And I know that by doing this, I'm going to help so many people. And I did. But like, I think that people just think that all these people just miraculously fly in from all over the country. I mean, I had a woman that came to my retreat in California, and she was from freaking Australia.
She was awesome.
She came all the way from Australia to see me speak. And it's just like, whoa.
That's cool.
Right?
That
But it
really
doesn't
cool.
come with, like, it doesn't like you snap your finger and there's like all these people show up and give you money.
And then, like we always talk about, it doesn't matter who shows up. If there's 10, there's 50 or 1,000. We're there to serve those people that
Yes.
decided to go, right?
So share your story. If you're struggling, or if you had a past that maybe was crazy, and people look at you now and they're like, I could never. Like, people will say to me all the time, like, I can never believe that your life was like that before this. And I was like, believe it. It's actually shaped me to be who I am. And I had so much pain growing up and so much pain in my young adult life that my purpose is I want to help people feel the least amount of pain that they can by teaching them or giving them like the cliff notes of how to live life ambitiously.
Well, too, you're 150% right. But think about when we were growing up, especially during my day, because I'm a little older than you.
Just a little.
But it was, it was crazy. It was always like, I grew up with the Brady Bunch. And that's how you would think, oh, how come my life isn't like this? And I think I actually lived in shame through other people.
The Brady Bunch was shamed a lot of people.
It was shame people, right? Because you're like, well, we don't do this. We don't have family get-togethers like that. We don't do anything.
We don't all go to Hawaii and steal the bad tiki.
And then other people, we didn't steal the bad tiki, though. We made it happen in our later life.
Absolutely.
But, I think thinking back, it's like, I kind of lived in a shame position.
Yeah.
Right? Of not being enough or whatever the case may be. Yep. And shame is a hard place. That's somewhere where you never want to be. That's probably the lowest emotion that you could probably feel.
Yes.
Is being ashamed of your family or your circumstances or whatever the case may be.
Or your truth.
Yeah. And I had I grew up in a crazy family, and, I loved them very much, but they were off the wall, and it was, a lot of shame and trying to be like everybody else. And yeah, so that pain definitely powered my purpose of how I was going to be a dad and how I was going to be in the community and how I was going to be able to put myself out there and speak about, who I am and what I've gone through. And it's okay to feel those emotions.
But it took you a really long time to get there.
Yeah.
Because I did the same thing. Like, I just threw so much stuff under the rug because I was like, I don't want people to know the reality of my story. Yeah. And then, obviously by telling my story, that's the
story.
Yeah.
Right. That's
and in telling my story, like, a lot of my family and a lot of people that were from my past actually have turned against me because they're like, they don't want me to tell my story because they're afraid that it besmirches them, but it's my truth. It has nothing to do with them.
And it's going to empower so many people that they're going to be able to speak their truth. Maybe not now, but they're like, hey, wow, Katie went through all this stuff and she's done had all these unbelievable accomplishments. And it gives you permission to be authentic, opposed to being that mask or that make-believe where you get nothing from. And you hold the shame, you hold the depression, you hold the not enoughness, you hold all those negative emotions. So the worst thing about pain is not being able to learn from it and move on.
And grow.
Learn from it, move on, grow, and then do not repeat.
Yes.
Do not repeat the action. Do not perpetuate the cycle.
Yeah.
Or if you come from poverty or you come from whatever disability or problems that you have, don't perpetuate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Change it. You can change it.
Number 3, pain only makes you stronger. Do you believe that, Matt?
I do. I didn't like it when I was going through it. I mean, it's like anything else, like, lifting weights and anything that puts stress or pressure or any kind of stress on your body or your emotions. You don't like it, but it's what makes you harder. It makes you stronger. I know I wouldn't have been the man I am today without going through all of the pressure and pain that I went through, whether it was either racism or, tragedies I've gone through with my family and, whatever it is. It wouldn't have given me, the strength that I have now and to be able to be the man I am today.
I think about even like being with you for the last 10 years and like things that I did 10 years ago and how I remember like going through so much turmoil and so much pain. And now when the same things are presented to me in this day and age, I'm like, who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I already did that 10 years ago, and I learned my
Yes.
lesson. I was thinking about like trademarking stuff the other day, because we're doing the book and we're doing all the intellectual property for the book and everything. And I was thinking when I had Wicked Fit, my television show, my entertainment lawyer, we were trademarking all these different things, and like how many people came after me about my name of my gym. They were trying to sue me and all this type of stuff. And I remember being in Las Vegas. And like having, remember this? And like this freaking sick, we were in the Bellagio in this like sick suite. And I'm literally like saying to myself, I'm in this like crazy suite, eating and drinking whatever I want, buying whatever I want, doing whatever I want, living my high life. And I'm having a nervous breakdown over the name of my company that may be taken away from me. Yeah. And now I'm like,
keep it. I'll change the name in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Who cares?
But it's just so funny how like 10 years ago I was like, oh my God. And now when things come to me, I'm like, okay, moving on.
Let me think of a better name. That must have been meant to be.
I mean, we ended up keeping the name, but we had to go through a lot because of it.
Yeah.
And I think about that now, and I'm like, what a joke.
But I don't think you would have. I know you wouldn't have spent the money on keeping the name, because you had to go through legal and suing and showing what all.
No, today, oh my God,
like,
I laugh.
Keep it.
I would literally laugh. But 10 years ago, that wasn't where I was. That was not where my mind was at. Right. And it says in the Bible in Psalms 23:4, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. And I always say that when I'm going through shit because, and I'm not super religious. I do believe in a higher power. I do believe in God, but I'm more spiritual, quote unquote, than religious. But I always go back to that Bible verse because it's like, you can't go under the valley. You cannot go around the valley, and you cannot go above it. You have to go through it, because through it is where the light lives.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
But people are like, how can I just like get around this pain without feeling it? Dude, feel it.
And it's going through the valley of life.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So the pain is going through the valley of life, of all the lessons, all of the pain and pressure that has turned you into the woman that you are today. And everybody who's gone through. I mean, I love Oprah, and we were listening to some things that she was going through. My God.
Oh my God. Oprah's story is insane.
It's an amazing story, a comeback story, of everything against her.
Yes.
And it was
more than most.
More than most. And thank God she shared it, because she's helping so many people by just being that person and being able to speak it. So.
Yeah. But if Oprah didn't have that crazy childhood,
she wouldn't be
She
Oprah.
would not be Oprah.
No.
Right? It's so true. And number 4, you realize in the pain that you are a no limits kind of person. So having no limits is a mindset. It usually comes from a place of enduring massive pain and suffering. And without these horrible trials and tribulations, we would never have the chance to really know how very strong we all are. So next time you're going through something deeply painful, be grateful in it, because you already know the secret. The pain is shaping you. Pressure can bust pipes, but it can also make diamonds. Right?
That's a good one. I like that.
It's true.
Yeah,
like when you go through all this shit and then you come out the other side, you're like, try me, ho. Try me, ho. That's like always. Like when people step to me, I'm like, girl, I already been through this, 1987. Like, let's move on.
And it will go away. Nothing.
This too shall pass.
Constant change. Everything is in constant change. Whether you like the change, you don't. There's nothing you can do about it.
Wow, you're such a stoic philosopher.
You go through it. You're going through it, right? And you're going through it, and it's going to get over. It's going to be over,
right?
All right. So whatever you're going through, it is going to pass.
Yeah.
And it sucks, but everyone out there that's going through something really difficult right now, it will get better.
My dad, when I was a little girl, his like thing was always like, "This too shall pass." And I would be like, "Fuck you, dude." And now I'm like, "No, he's right."
He's just saying it. He used to say it when I was around him too. And
right, he would say it to you too.
Yeah, always, yeah.
That was his catchphrase.
Or it was just divine telling me. Yeah, maybe you're right.
And I do believe that God speaks through people. And
absolutely.
My whole life I was like, what do you know about things passing? And now that I'm older, I'm like, oh my God, I always think of like when something's bothering me, I'll say to myself like, will this bother me in a day or a month or even like a year? Like, and it never does. And there's things that hurt me so deeply in my life. And now I think about like, you ever like, this happens to me sometimes, like on Facebook, it'll say like, this person should be your friend. Like it suggests friends for you. And you're like, oh, hell no. I hate you. I hate that motherfucker. And then I'm like, but why do I hate this person? I can't remember why I don't like the
I don't think
person.
you hate anybody. I think you just hate attitudes.
So you love how I say something and Matt's like, I don't really think you're that mean. And I'm like, I'm fucking ruthless, Matt. Get over it.
I look at you as I know who you are.
Well, you got to stop painting that pretty picture because I am a bitch, okay? And when I see something that I don't like, I'm like, but that's the thing I'm saying is like, I don't even know why I don't like the person because shit happened like so friggin' long ago that I totally forgot why I don't even like them in the first place. Isn't it so true?
That's why we always say, right? We'll say if we're in something that's really bothering us. I'm like, in 5 years, are we even going to think about this? Nope. Then why do we care now?
Absolutely. And last but not least, it builds up your tolerance. When we endure tragedy and hardship in our lives, we always come out the other side with a newfound strength and vision. Feeling pain is what makes us alive. The more pain we go through, the more callous we become. The more callous we become, the more we are equipped when the big things happen, like death and tragedy and loss. And understanding life's challenges are what make us truly who we are, and it's what gives us strength, hope, and true grit. Right?
Yes.
So when we go through this and we build up this kind of like muscle of the pain, it's just like, yeah, I already been there, done that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like David Goggins. I was talking about David Goggins earlier today, and he wrote a book called You Can't Hurt Me, and he was like a Navy SEAL, an Army Ranger, and then what was the other one?
The Air Force Special Forces.
Yeah, it was like all these special ops. And if you read his book, which is a phenomenal book, or you listen to it on Audible, it's just incredible. But he talks about like how all the things that he went through in his life and all the pain he actually put himself through because he's kind of like me in a lot of ways where he likes to like do things to see how tough he truly is and how much he can take. And I feel like, yeah, like I'm very David Goggins-esque.
I am not.
Matt's like, how can I be the most comfortable I possibly can?
It doesn't look like there's going to be pain here. I don't need to do any more pain. I had enough pain already.
It's very, very true. But yeah, pain, in my opinion, it calluses you and it gets you ready for the big shit. So if you can get through the smaller things, when the big things actually happen, it's not going to fucking rock you. Mm-hmm. It's not going to shake you because you're like, I've already been here, done that. This is not going to rock me. Mm-hmm. Like he says, I train so that when like I get that call in the middle of the night, my mom dies, it doesn't like make me fall apart. How many people do you know have something like that happen, like the death of a parent or a loss of a business, or they get fired from a job, or divorce, any kind of loss of that. Yeah. And what happens? They fall into the shit pit and they can never fucking get themselves out again.
Never get out. Yeah, no, not good.
But if you're strong and you've calloused yourself to that point, it doesn't matter what you go through. You're like, okay, this is just a temporary setback. It's just setting you up for a comeback.
And it's not going to make it easier, but knowing that, you know that you're going to come out stronger in the end.
Absolutely.
And sometimes things happen.
Oh. Yeah. Matt says shit happens. Thank you. Happens. Oh, wise Matthew Babine. Jesus Christ. I feel like I'm sitting next to fucking Epictetus, the stoic philosopher.
Yes, you are. Don't you forget it.
Thank you all out there in Ambitchious land for being crusaders to this ambitious movement. And like I always say, see you next Tuesday.
Great job, babe.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.